Welcome to Quickdraw. All our Quickdraw episodes are spoiler-free. Enjoy the show.
We were driving past Zizek's Road yesterday, and we thought to ourselves, why not have a movie quick draw? Could Ashley find a movie that was better than mine? Could I find a movie that was better than hers? No. Instead, we'll be on the same side, debating the same movie, but it'll be faster, quicker, and just as mean. Quick draw. Welcome to Microsodes.
So we are back for our second episode of Quickdraw,
Count it.
and we thought it was very appropriate sitting in the front room of our house. We will be discussing the movie The Front Room.
Hey now. So this is a kind of a new format for movies that we don't think that people really need to take as much time in. Shawshank Redemption, Back to the Future, Indiana Jones. Those are movies that you might need to dive into. But there's a ton of indie movies that are out there that you might not ever need to see even once. Happy Death Day. Sorry, Blumhouse. We actually really like what you do, but you decided to do Happy Death Day 1 and 2. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so maybe we'll talk about some sequels on here, some remakes, or some really great movies that we just don't have a lot to talk about.
Exactly.
And, of course, TV series.
Exactly. But before we start off any of these things, we're going to start with a fact from the movie. Now, the fact from the movie could either be about the movie, about the actors or actresses in the movie, or about, I guess, the production of the movie. What else would you say?
I think you did a great job explaining. It's just a fact that's related to the movie in some way.
Exactly. And
Okay.
here's a really quick example for you. Today I was reading an article on Twitter.
Oh.
I'm never going to call it X. So, as an example, the movie Cleopatra almost bankrupted 20th Century Fox. They put out I guess it was a budget of around between $4 to $8 million, and it ended up costing $44 million. And this is back in the day, back in the 1950s and 60s.
So this was 40 million?
$4 million, and it was
Back
supposed to
then?
be, yeah.
Not in today's money.
Correct. They
Holy.
said they made money on the movie. Because when people saw it, they were like, oh, wow, it's an incredible ensemble.
I see
This is
why
all
it
that's
costs
going
this
on.
much.
Right. So they made money on it. But in the meantime, they had to sell a bunch of the land that they had purchased for their production company to help mitigate and finance the costs. So that's an example of something that we could say, not specifically, but it's just a tidbit about the movie that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and that was a tidbit about Cleopatra,
That's right.
starring Elizabeth Taylor.
Right. And that's one of the biggest costs that they had was that she was demanding a ridiculous amount of money to be Cleopatra.
Yeah. Because she said, I'm not going to be in this. And then they said, you're going to be in it. And she said, fine, only if you pay me this. And they said, you know what? You're worth it. I'm worth it. I'm Elizabeth Taylor.
I mean, she got a ton of money, which is awesome for her.
Yeah.
And her estate. But
And that
it's
is
just a random fact about a movie.
nice.
So you are going to read.
I also have a fact related to the movie.
Did I say my fact?
No.
I just explained what the fact was.
Yes.
Got it.
You explained what a related fact could be.
Got it.
Okay. So my fact, I'm just going to read it out loud. Is that all right? Can
Absolutely.
I read my fact instead of paraphrasing it?
Sure.
Okay.
Who's going to stop you? Stella?
I'm so sorry. This is my fact. Brandy revealed that she sought therapy after filming to help process the intense emotional strain from playing Belinda, her character, a pregnant woman facing psychological torment. So after playing this character, she sought therapy. I mean, did she also go to therapy before? I'm not sure. But maybe we'll discuss that later on this episode. Now, Bobby, what is your fact related to the movie The Front Room?
So my fact about this movie was that the lead character next to Brandy was Andrew Burnap. He went to Yale University and he studied at the Yale Acting Hall, named after David Geffen.
Wow.
But the very next movie that he has a title credit for is the 2025 live action version of Snow White.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what it says. Outside of that, he was in Under the Banner of Heaven, We Crashed, Spare Room, The Chaperone, The Layoff.
So he's in a lot of rooms. Well, I guess two. The front room and the spare room.
Right, exactly. All right, so those are our quick facts.
So tell me what you thought about the front room.
Yeah, so the front room, it was a really interesting concept. I think they had a lot of really good and dynamic relationships in it. I got lost midway through.
Me too. I kept trying to guess what it was actually about because after we saw the trailer, it looked very interesting. Like there was some kind of witchcraft or voodoo or I don't know, some like interesting backstory.
Yeah.
But then watching it, it was fairly straightforward. Like, I guess I don't want to give away I'm not giving away the ending for anyone, but like, don't think too hard into what you think it might be.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a really good point. This movie will take you down a bunch of really weird dips and dives. There's a bunch of random scenes that are thrown in to kind of throw you off.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about those.
Yeah. And so I'm not 100% sure what these guys were going for. But what I will say is that if whatever you think is going on isn't really what you think is going on.
Exactly.
And so in that way, I really respected it. But in a different way, I really hated it.
Agreed.
And the reason why I didn't like it is because the audience was subjected to what the character was experiencing.
Yes.
And so it was almost like a situation in which you feel like it was almost an exertion of your energy to watch the movie because you were so close with the character. And you just don't, when we turned it off, I just felt tired.
Yes. It's kind of like an energy vampire, but
Yeah.
like based on psychology or based on like
Right.
psychological perceptions. I mean, I guess that's kind of what an energy vampire is, but this was also more traumatic. So I guess I
Right.
understand why she had to get intensive therapy afterward, because I probably would.
Yeah,
Based on everything that went on.
I understand, but it's, for me, it's not like Heath Ledger in The Joker, where he locked himself in a hotel room for 3 weeks and then just like became that persona.
Yeah.
And consumed as much stuff. She was just a fine enough actress in a fine enough movie, and yet she suffered some kind of psychological breakdown.
I mean, but some of that was very gross.
But why wouldn't the woman who was doing it or the son who was her partner have that same reaction?
I don't know. Maybe they just didn't tell the public.
But why wouldn't you? She was fine coming out and saying it.
Maybe she didn't go to therapy before. Like maybe she was completely against therapy. And then everything happened and she was like, maybe I should go. But all the other actors already went to therapy. So them going to therapy wasn't like monumental, wasn't noteworthy.
Yeah, and I get where you're coming from, but the fact that somebody, whether it's her publicist or her or the person said intensive therapy because of this movie, it's like, come on. Come on.
Well, I would have to disagree with that.
Okay.
Only because there were some parts that were very, very gross. And I'm going to say it, and because it's, first of all, it's not a spoiler. But second of all, if anyone like is triggered by this watching it, they have like body excrements and it's disgusting. For me, I was like more grossed out by that than anything else.
And I get where you're coming from, but at the same point in time, like, I think this is the person whoever came up with this idea and directed it saw what somebody could be at the end of their life if they wanted to be angry and bitter, vindictive.
Like, why did she ever hate her?
I think because of the racial portion of it.
Oh, okay.
But even in that, it's like there are a ton of people that will take in their parents at the end of their lives because that's a duty and a responsibility. And you can end up then resenting that person based upon the way that they act, behave when they're in your home.
Yeah.
I think that if you're going to sign up for a film, you should explore that with yourself before you get into it. And then, like, I don't know. I just, it's such a different thing when it's real life versus when it's make-believe. And so I'm having a difficult time getting behind the whole other portion of the story. But I mean, maybe there was a real traumatic episode. It could totally happen.
Or maybe her life has just been so great that this is the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to her.
That's true.
That could also be something.
You know what? That makes complete sense.
Like some of these reviews that you can read online. Mm-hmm. This is the worst day of my life. I can't believe they did this to me. I can't believe they didn't give me a second napkin when I asked for it.
Sure.
This is ridiculous. This is the worst day of my life, and I can't believe I've been treated like this. This is the worst day of your life? Like, good for you. You must have lived a privileged life. So maybe it could be just a different scale than that.
Fair enough. And I get where you're coming from. It's just, I don't know. It sounds like it's almost like a weird PR stunt, but maybe it could be totally true.
It could be a PR stunt, or it could be real.
It could, like I said, to each their own. Whether it's real or a PR stunt, at least it got us to a fact about the movie.
Yeah.
And an opportunity to speak about everything that went on in it.
Yeah.
So for this quick draw, I'd have to give it a miss.
Me too. I'd give it a miss.
Yeah,
I mean, the trailer felt like it had so much going for it.
Well, and I think the first 20 minutes, or maybe even a little bit longer, maybe the first 30 minutes, seemed like it was kind of
building up.
Yeah, it was going towards something that would be relatively entertaining and thought-provoking.
Yes.
Without going over the top.
Yes.
And then the last 40 or 45 minutes of it, I can't remember how long it was, maybe an hour and a half to an hour 45.
Yeah.
It was just like, what are we doing? What is this movie now?
Right.
We're going to talk about another movie soon that kind of does that same thing. It seems like these writers and directors have so many great ideas, but they get the pitch in, and I don't think that they know how to end it. Because the first 20 to 30 minutes of that movie are so much different or so much better than the last, like, 3/4 of the movie, half of the movie.
I agree. Like, it started really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, this is gross. And then it got to a point where I'm like, okay, you don't need to like keep doing it. And then it
Right.
got to another point where I'm like, this is getting out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some scenes that were absolutely repulsive. Like, for me, that was so gross to me, and I just would not recommend it based on that alone. Anyway, I'm done saying gross.
No, I think you're 1,000,000% right, and that's the reason why I said it's a miss for me, is because I don't ever want a movie to feel like it's a chore watching it.
Right.
And that's kind of how I felt. I felt like I felt heavy
Mm-hmm.
after the final credits rolled, and I'm sure that's probably what someone like that was going for. A shocking, ridiculous, outlandish movie. And it's like, well, if that's what you were going for, I guess you achieved it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same point in time, you shouldn't ever make the audience feel like it was a burden to watch what you produced.
Right. I mean, the only way I could see that is if it was someone doing it for like an art piece or an art demonstration, and they're like, oh, my goal is to make the audience as uncomfortable as possible. Then I'd be like,
it is very uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is like art. I get it. It's like crazy art.
See, but for me, I feel like Mother was art. Because I didn't like.
Oh, I'm not saying this was like good art.
No, I'm just saying, like, I think people sometimes they think that they're really smart in what they're providing to the audience. And I thought, like, oh, well, Mother is a really provocative, like, weird, mind-bending piece. Because you didn't really know what was going on and off and all those other kind of things.
Exactly. I don't want to say too much about it, but we should do an episode on it. And
oh, yeah.
We're recording this on Mother's Day, so how appropriate.
Hey, there we go.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. May your day have been full of laughs, joy, all the great things that go along with all the memories that you've hopefully had with your family.
Yes.
All right. So next time, we'll see you. I don't know.
Oh, are we done?
What we're going to say.
Oh, I guess that's it.
Well, what else did you...
No, I mean, you're right. There's nothing else to say.
Okay. That's kind of what I was thinking.
That was fantastic.
I mean, it's 41 minutes, so hopefully you've got a lot to edit.
I think these are pretty good.
Little quick draws. All right, we ready to wrap this?
Yes. Thank you, Bobby, for having me. I really
You know what,
enjoyed...
Ashley? Thanks for taking my invite today. Really appreciate that.
You're
I know
welcome.
you had to come from a long way. It was upstairs, right?
Yes. And I know that you came from outside, which was a journey because you had to fight past all of the bugs and get through the glass.
That's true.
That may or may not have been locked.
100%.
Thanks for being here, and I'm so glad to be here as well.
Well, until the next quick draw. Okay.
Okay, I guess we better go before we continue talking because we're going to continue talking if we just continue to sit here and record.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time on Quick Draw.